Everybody, welcome to Real Talk with Ellison, and I am Ellison. I just want to thank you all for tuning in to the show today. And on this show, we believe in keeping it real. We live, and whatever happens, just happens, right? If you're tuning in on Facebook, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit the like button. If you're tuning in on YouTube, please subscribe and share it out. I just want to say here on Real Talk, we talk about real issues that impact the community and the church as well, right? So today's topic, we are going to be talking about stop the violence. I don't know, a lot of people say they don't watch the news, but I just want to tell you the violence is going up in an alarming rate, right? So today we're going to be discussing stop the violence. And violence in America is rising at an astronomical rate, and especially the gun violence. So the United States is the highest death by firearms than any other country. Listen, there are 38,826 gun deaths. That's not even including anyone who had got shot and were survivors. Those are just deaths. So basically, it equates in 1 year 11.7 deaths out of 100,000 people. Did you guys know that gun violence in America costs $208.1 billion, and it costs the taxpayers $12.7? That is a lot of money. And here with me today, we have none other than Monica Atkins to help talk about the situation and gun violence. Monica, how are you?
I'm great in yourself, Miss Ellison.
It's good. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Real Talk as we discuss this issue. Did you hear the stats?
Yes, ma'am.
That is alarming. And I remember chatting with you, and I was like, sometimes I feel like I'm a little in my little bubble. How many times I think about people who don't watch the news, and when I was looking up these stats, I was like, my God, this is alarming. This
Yes.
is alarming, right? But before we get into that, I just want to say that you have your own story,
Yes.
right? And you have your own company. You're the executive director of Stop the Violence 757, and you and your organization are an intricate part of the community. And I just want to give you some time to just share with us about how you got started and what you do for the community.
Yes. Thank you. Again, my name is Monica Atkins, and I'm the executive director for Stop the Violence 757. Stop the Violence 757 was initially founded in 2014, but actually the movement started in 2013 when I lost my cousin, Aaron World Turner. A group of individuals in the city of Portsmouth wanted to come together because there was a lot of gun violence happening in the surrounding areas. So they want to come together to see how we can brainstorm collectively so we can just try to put an end to it. Not knowing that the year moving forward, 2014, that my son life was usually taken from gun violence.
Mm.
Then I had no choice but to move forward. At this time, I always say this to people. When individuals want to be a part of something, your bus is always full.
Mm.
But when the bus starts to travels, individuals, they drop off. But that just goes to show you who is really passionate about helping.
That's good.
And that from there, moving forward, now remind you, it was almost maybe 100 individuals out there in 2013.
Uh-huh.
And moving forward, I started with 3 individuals, and I'm the third one. It's myself, Monica Atkins, my partner, Clue Atkinson, and my other partner, Ricky Hoggart. It has
Okay.
been us 3 for some time. So now, the last couple of months, I was actually able to build Stop the Violence. And I have a great board members now that actually they take so much off my hands now because it was overwhelming. Because
Right.
I'm passionate about what I do. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm definitely gonna execute it. I'm a woman of my word. I'm hands-on in the community. I'm all
Mm-hmm.
over the community. But now I have board members to help take some of that off of me, which is a
Mm-hmm.
blessing.
That is a blessing. I wanna go back because something you said. And first, let me extend my condolences for losing your son. So this is personal, because you lost your son to gun violence. So of course, my condolences for that. It never gets easy, to lose a child, regardless of the situation. But something so heinous like that is got to be at some point unbearable. But you said you started out with this movement with 100 people, and by the time it really got started, it was just 3 people.
Yes, ma'am.
How did that hit home?
They wasn't passionate about it. And a lot of times people don't want to get involved until it knock on their doorstep.
That's deep. That I wasn't ready to go there, but you said it, so let's go there. There's so many times we want to get involved in a community, but life happens or whatever else we may say. But then when it hits home, we want to get involved and we want everybody to jump on the bandwagon with us. But it's so important to get involved before it even hits home. Am I
Yes,
right? Is that what you're saying?
yes, ma'am. I want to say this because you say real talk, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Us as individuals and as parents, we make time for what we want to make time for.
Mm.
And here I am. I'm a full-time parent educator. I recently was a QMHP at a company that I was working for, but I let that go. I just took on being a mentor at the Up Center. I'm a full-time executive for Stop the Violence. I'm an advocate. I do community service. I put my time in because
Mm.
I want to be the change. I want to make a difference.
That's
But
good.
what about the parents that's just home sitting on their hind parts that's not doing anything?
My God. You know what? I don't even have an answer for that. And just listening to everything that you said, it's easy to throw out the word busy. It's
Yes.
easy to throw out the word busy. But like you said, we make time for what we want to make time for,
And not even
right?
that, I'm a partner of a yard card business called Atkins Yard Decor. Right now, even though it's hailing outside, I have a job to do at 11 o'clock when I leave here to go do a yard. I don't make excuses. I do
Mhm.
what I have to do. I want
That's
to be
right.
the change. I want to assist where the need is.
Mhm. What does the change, you keep saying I want to be the change. What does the change in your eyesight look like?
We have to be visible for one. Communication is key. I know I'm not able to save a lot of kids, but even if it's that one that I can just pour into,
Mhm.
because using my daughter couldn't always communicate with me. She would always go to an individual and communicate with them things that I couldn't communicate, that she couldn't communicate with me as being her mother.
Mhm.
But I just prayed and hope that they was telling her the correct thing to do.
Yes. 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 Do you remember the saying that it takes a village?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened to the village?
You right about okay, so you know what happened to the village? Because back when we was young, if somebody chastised our children, it was okay. But in this new day and time, if we even say anything wrong to somebody's child, then the parent want to have some type of confrontation with us.
Mhm.
That's the issue. Because when
Mhm.
they wrong, you're supposed to tell them they're wrong. We have to
Mhm.
stop sugarcoating things to these children. I'm gonna
Yes.
use social media as an example. For one, the respect. These young men and women around here on their social media page with these guns posted up. Where's the respect for your parent? All respect is no respect anymore.
Is no respect
No
anymore.
respect, no respect. And I mean, respect goes a long way. And I'm
Yes.
telling you, that what carries me with my son Antonio Atkins. Whenever he departed from home, he will always say, "Mom, I love you." He was the peacemaker in the house. Anybody that ever came in a contact with my son would tell you, Miss Monica, your son is so respectful. He gonna
Mm.
yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. If he see you struggling, he's gonna assist to help. Even my cousins' moms and my girlfriend's moms, you know what he addressed them as? Grandma. We don't have enough grandmoms in the house. These new modern day
Ooh.
grandmoms, we needs to go back to the bylaws or go back to our family members and be like, give me some information on discipline. Discipline is
Shit.
always not with our hands, but you can discipline a person with the way you, with the things you tell them. It's not what you say, it's how you
Right.
say it.
Monica, you said we need to go back to the bylaws of a grandma.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
I'm venturing the bylaws as a parent as well. Sometimes I feel like a lot of us are trying to be our children's friend and not the parent. So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
love that. We need to go back to the bylaws. Listen to this. I have some stats here that I want to give out. And the stats that I'm giving out are here in Virginia, but you can find out the stats in your own area. And I say this, don't, like Monica said, don't wait till it becomes personal, but find out how you can help now. Find out what's going on in your area now. So homicides, this is for Virginia. Homicides by gun have increased 20% in Virginia and 26% nationwide. 20% in Virginia and 26% nationwide. 20% in just one state. That to me is like, it's like, what are we not doing? What are we not doing? And so let me break it down. On an average, that's 339 people in Virginia die by homicide, right? Now 659 are wounded and get assaulted, but 339 they die. That's 4.1 homicides. I'm like, I just couldn't believe this. In the state of Virginia, 77% of all homicides involve guns compared to 75 nationwide. That is higher. Virginia is higher than nationwide. 77% homicide. So with those stats like that, how can we possibly say we don't have a problem? How can we say we don't have a problem?
A deaf ear. Again, not until it knocks on their door. A deaf ear.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the city of Portsmouth. And again, I say it all the time. I live in Chesapeake. I have been a Chesapeake resident for 30 years. Portsmouth Police Department is short staffed. My son's case is unsolved. I never get a phone call into what's going on with his case, any new evidence or anything. So the death rate is so high, it's not enough detectives to even do the investigation so they can try to solve the cases.
How did how does that make you feel?
For a minute, I was out here being a detective because I refuse to give up. I'm gonna get clarity on my son's case, but I don't let it stress me out because he wouldn't want me to be sad or stressed. Don't get me wrong. I think of my son all the time. I celebrate him. I celebrate some, I that's what we do. We celebrate. And I just didn't celebrate him for not being here with me physically. I mean, physically, we always celebrate. That's one thing my mama raised us up as, to celebrate one another. And that's what we did. But the parents have to start speaking up about their individuals. They have to be the voice because
Mm-hmm.
if they don't speak up, who else cares? And when I say parents, not just the mothers, the fathers have to step up as well.
Yes, ma'am. The fathers have to step up as well. And it is so powerful. And what they don't understand is, where are the fathers? Where are the men? Where are the men? A lot of times, you do see the woman, and I'm not saying that that's all men, but where are our men? Where are our men? And I'm not saying that to say you answer that question, because I don't think you can answer it either.
No, ma'am.
But we need them to step up. How important do you believe that, having that male, whether it's your father, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a role model, whether it's the pastor, the deacon, the minister, whether it's somebody, how important is that male role model?
With me being a parent educator for the Up Center, one thing we stress that the parents allow the child to have that relationship with the father, because believe it or not, the child will thrive more with the father versus they will with the mother. And we need men to lead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the comment said, fathers do not realize how much they impact the families by their absence. Yes, and that is so true. And you can be in the house and still be absent. That's a powerful statement.
Yes, ma'am.
You can still be in the house as a father and still be absent, because you're not taking on the role as that parent, right? You're not taking on the role as that father, as that authoritative figure. So now there's no authority in the home. How am I supposed to respect and authority out in the streets?
What happened to eating at the table like a family? If you're not paying bills at my household, why is your door shut?
Speak to that piece, because let's just keeping it real, because this is my house.
Exactly. So I lost my mother when I was 17, and I raised my two sisters. So my motto in my house, if you don't like the way I run my household, they're the door. So they had a choice. And she didn't leave till she graduated. And not even that, I gave her all the tools she needed to be able to thrive. And she's been out my house since she was 18, and now she's 35, have her home house, working a job. I gave her all the tools that she needed. But at the end of the day, even with my son is 35 years of age. He just moved out when he was 30. I just have to address this, because I see even individuals that's allowing their children and their significant others to lay up in their households. Where they do that at? I could never bring a man up in my mom's house and we laying up like we paying bills. It's all about respect.
So you think respect is gone. And I'm glad you brought up respect, because again, if I'm not respecting my parent or my guardian that I'm with, how am I supposed to respect that teacher? How am I supposed to respect that authoritative figure? How am I supposed to respect anyone if I'm not learning respect up in the house, but yet I'm running out here with the guns, and whatever else, saying, oh, you gonna respect me?
Yes, ma'am. And again, generation curses are real, because maybe that parent wasn't brought up with respect. But sometimes we try to learn from things that we wasn't able to grow up with. We just got to be the change in the light in our children's lives, especially with the things that we see that's happening now. It's not too late to save a child. Sometimes they just need a hug, or for a parent to say, I love you. I'm here if you need me. Again, because they can't always talk to their parents.
Right. And you had made mention that your daughter, you couldn't always talk with your daughter. And I think as parents, we all go through that with our children. I remember being told that I allowed my children to speak too freely. Right. But I wanted to know what was going on with them. And I needed to know whose house you was going over. I needed to know about the parent. It wasn't just enough for me to say I'm going over so-and-so's house. I need to know your parent. I need to know all of that. How important is it in getting involved in your children's life to save their life?
And you know what? You said a valid point there too, because just last week, my board members, we had a training with Be Smart for gun safety, right? And it was a question that stuck out because I wonder, do parents, well, I can't say, I wonder how many parents, before they allow their children to go stay at an individual house, do they ask the parents of the house, do you have a firearm in the house? Is it
Mm.
locked up?
Mhm.
Well, I'm
Mhm.
sure not many ask that question.
Mhm.
That plays a part too with the high violence of, gun violence.
Yeah. And that's a good point that you brought out. And although our children are grown now, I never even thought to ask that question. And I'm gonna be honest. I never in my life thought to ask, do you have a firearm in the home? Because sometimes it is accidents and playing with firearms that also cause the death.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So I mean that is a good thing. So that would be something that, for our viewers, hey, if your kids are going somewhere, find out if there's guns in the home. And not only find out if there's guns in the home, find out, are they secured?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And because there's a lot of people running around with no locks on their guns, and their guns are not locked up.
Right.
I
And
think
all
it was not too long ago. What was it? The 3-year-old who shot herself with the gun?
Yes. And I can actually say that Moms in Demand have a program called the Be Smart program where they will train you on gun safety. And if the individuals of what city you live in, you can contact the police department and they have free gun locks to give out.
Okay, so the police department has free guns.
Gun locks to give out.
Okay, gun locks about.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then you said there's something else that we can be, is it Be Smart?
Yes, Be Smart by Women in Demand. Yes, ma'am. They have a Be Smart training where they will come out and facilitate a Be Smart training where they have a PowerPoint and they lay it out to educate individuals the importance of safety of locking your guns up.
Again, you said women, right?
Yes.
Where's our men?
No, that's just the name of the organization. So it don't matter who it is. It's for everyone.
Okay.
It's called
Okay.
Moms in Demand. Let me make
I got
clarity.
it. I got it now. Okay.
So yes, it's for everyone.
Okay. So and this is free. You can get it for free.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the question is, how involved do you perceive the church as a whole to be in this matter?
The church have to come outside of them four walls.
One more time.
The church has to come outside of them four walls. See, I'm grounded in church, but my ministry is outside the church walls. I know who I serve, but my purpose is to save as many as people as I can. I'm gonna give the word to him because it's God keeping me. Because my relationship with my son, if it wasn't for God, I would have lost my mind.
Yes. 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 If you can't say ouch, amen, say ouch. And and I appreciate you saying that because, and I'm not saying all churches, because I can't speak for all churches, but I know there is I think the Thanksgiving drive. This is what I hear most: the soup kitchen, the Thanksgiving drive, the coat drive. Yeah, those are the three that I hear the most. But what you're saying, as far as the church coming out the four walls, we need to get involved in those communities, or even have some kind of program to bring them in.
Yes, because
Right?
yes, ma'am. What about a prime example? Churches connecting with one another. It's not all about the big church. It's not all about the small church. Again, communication. Men can we can do a lot with numbers, but they have to go in these saturated, high crime areas and talk about the safety of gun violence, not harming one another.
Yeah. I know, and you know what? Something else too. I know they also have prison ministry, but we want to stop these young men and women from going to prison.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and in doing so, we need to get involved now.
Yes.
And ministry also starts in the home. That's scripture.
Yeah.
Ministry starts in the home, so we have to start with our own children, and we also need to reach out and talk to those kids as well, because what we don't want to do is keep allowing our children to, either be death by gun or some other violent act, or now be, inmates with a number, or be
Right.
felons. So now your records messed up. You can't get a good job. All kind of stuff is happening. We need to get out of the four walls and stop ahead of time.
I agree.
Yeah. So I thought that was very powerful. It says, when do you think it is appropriate time to speak to your teenager about guns? That's a good question. What do you got, Monica?
At the age 10.
Age 10.
Yes, ma'am. Because they can comprehend at the age 10. They know right from wrong. They actually in middle school. So that's where a lot of the games started at now, in middle school. So we need to start to educate them 10 and up. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Educate your teen. And that goes for both boys and girls.
Yes. Yes.
That is powerful. And I think, and you right, you said it's starting in middle school now.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, you think about it, they are getting younger and younger. The crimes are getting younger and younger. So that is good. So listen, as so all the stats that I given out, this one was particularly stood out to me. 85% of the children and teens die by gun every year, and 55% of that number is homicide. So 85% is accidents, suicide, and 55% of it is homicide. So starting at the early age, the tender age of 2, where some of us as parents are like, no, 10, my baby, all of that stuff. And baby over here in middle school learning about whatever else.
But mental health plays a part too.
Okay.
Because, and I say that again with being a parent educator, we actually do screening on children when they born, at when they get to 2 months. And screenings will share any type of developmental delays with the children.
Mm-hmm.
And when you score low, we always refer them out to get help.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm not the doctor, but that's our job. But a lot of these children are suffering from mental health. Mental health plays a big part of gun violence.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you brought that up, because I did have that, because, mental health, like you said, it does play a part on gun violence. That's where we as parents or caretakers have to, one, identify, and two, I'm trying to think of a decent, tactful way to say it, but you got to believe something's really wrong with little Johnny.
Yes, ma'am.
Not everybody want to accept that, baby boy, baby girl has an issue. So, or depending on the ethnicity, we don't believe in some of these things. We don't believe in counselors, and we don't believe in ADHD, and we don't believe in this, and we don't believe in that. So how important is it for us, even as a parent, to identify and early on get help for our children?
We need to always address things to the doctor where the doctor can point them in the right directions. Not even that, we need to have that dialogue with the teacher, because 9 times out of 10, when they scoring lows on any type of testing, that's a red flag there. Mm-hmm. My child is not comprehending for his age. Mm-hmm. So whatever red flags we see as a parent, far as grades, or sad all the time, anger, they sign something is wrong. Something is seriously wrong.
So something I hear a lot is, oh, they're just an introvert. They just like staying in their room. They're just quiet. They don't like talking. They don't want to do anything. What do you think about that? Because 9 out of 10 times when they're in the room, they're doing something. And like you said, the door is closed. So they're on there, they're texting, they're on the game, they're getting involved in something. But yet we as a parent giving them space, they're in there doing whatever. How important is it for us to see, okay, well, are they introvert or are they depressed?
So
are they being bullied? Like, talk to me about that.
Or let me ask you this. Or are you the parent scared to go in their room to see what they're involved with, or to check your household to see if they brandishing any firearms in your house? Because I made a status today. Step 1, parents, check your houses to see if guns in your household. Because for one, it's so many break-ins as far as cars. They're not going to be a fool and leave them guns in the cars, because they know that the break-ins are high as well in the communities. Yeah. They're taking them firearms, secure them in their rooms.
So parents, check your children's room.
Yes.
Number 1, check your children's room, right? What about the cell phone? What about the computers? Do we have a right?
Yes, we do. In this day and time, yes, we do. Because we as parents, like you said, we should always want to know who you hanging out with, because my mama always told me, oh, you shouldn't hang with her. It's just something about her. Parents, we never wrong. And I used to tell my daughter the same thing. We can discern individuals that's not qualified to hang with our children.
Right. Yes. Oh my goodness. She said, who's not qualified to hang with our children. That's good. Yes. So yes, she said she believes in checking social media, text messages, and the copies they keep, because children nowadays they delete stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we have another one: stop being a friend and start being a parent. Right? Be intrusive. Ask the hard questions. Listen. Ask the hard questions. If your child is walking in the house with some Jordans on, Monica,
who bought you?
You didn't buy them.
Yes, but and I'm it's okay. So let me tell you this, because I'm not in the streets, but I'm from the streets. Okay. A lot of these kids around here are getting slain, I'm sorry, because of gangs. But a lot of them doing a lot of scamming as well.
Okay.
So if I tell you to go cash a check for me and ask you to give me X amount back and you don't give it to me, that's grounds for me to take your life.
Wow.
They want to live this high fashion lifestyle that they didn't live when they was home with their parents. So now what they doing, that they living this lavish life, they actually lacing their parents' pockets. And the parents that's not asking where the money come from, they're content. Oh, let him do what he want to do, as long as he's taking care of me. Again, the parents are being the kids' friends.
Being a kid's friend. How healthy is it? I hear a lot of parents saying, I don't want my children to fear me. Now, granted, I wouldn't want nobody to have the fear I had in my mama, but I tell you what, I came out all right with that fear I had in my mother. How important is it for our child to have a healthy fear in us, in a parent?
It just starts early on, because once you lose them, you lose them. When the respect is gone, it's not coming back. I have heard so many children disrespect their parents, but I have respect for me. Where they do that at?
Yes. Yeah. That's true. So it starts early on. And I know you said the age of 10 is when we talk about guns, but we got to get that healthy fear back all the way back at 2, when they keep yelling, no, and hitting. That's not cute.
It's called structure. It's no structure in the house anymore. We don't give them chores. We come home, we ask them to do something. The dishes not washed, trash not taken out. That's nothing. But guess what? We accept it and we end up doing it ourselves. No, that's not right. No, we got to hold them accountable, just like they hold us accountable to pay the rent, to keep the roof over the head, to
feed them.
Yes, ma'am. All the necessities you need in the household to thrive. It's not fair to the parents.
Right.
So if they hold us accountable, we have to hold them accountable too with yours.
Right. How important is it, do you think it is, to allow your child to express themselves?
It's very important because again, you said that someone may be bullying them. But like again, like I said, I'm gonna use myself as an example. I had structure in my house. Oh, my children feared me, okay? They feared me. But again, me and my daughter, we had a great
She
relationship.
said they feared me. I don't want to get my kids on the show.
But she just felt like certain things she couldn't talk to me about. Now, guess who she talked to? Her father. She had that conversation with him. Now, again, if it was something that he thought that I needed to be alarmed about, then he would share that with me.
Okay. Okay. So, and at least she had dad there.
Yes. Yes.
Right? At least she had dad there. So with them expressing themselves, right? Do you think the lack of coping skills has anything to do with violence today?
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to me
Yes,
about
ma'am.
that.
Kids these skills have to be taught growing up. And coping skills, to be able to cope under pressure, they feel like they have to react. Everything don't need a reaction.
That's
But
right.
not even that, like I say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Some parents yell at the children so much. Guess what yelling does? It traumatizes the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma is not normal.
Right. Right. Because so now you're yelling, telling them to stop yelling, but all they know is yelling.
Yes.
So I'm going to express myself that way. And I personally, I don't mind popping a kid, but it's a different thing when you're beating a child and then you tell them don't hit others. They're only mimicking what they do.
And you know what? This is so true. And I'm gonna use myself as an example. Mama, I lost my mom at 17. But coming up, my mama used to yell all the time. And that yelling at me put fear in me. So when after my mama died, my sister used to keep my children. And if I didn't come back at the appointed time that I say I was, I knew my sister was gonna yell and cuss me out. But guess what I did? I dodged it because I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it because I was traumatized from growing up when my mama yelled. Not saying she wasn't a great parent, but that's all she knew. That's how she knew to get her point across.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then
Yeah.
guess what it's called? Learned behavior.
Learned behavior. And that's what our kids do. They learn behavior. There was a comment, and I'm trying to remember what it said, but it said something about listening. It says, Jessica said, I think it's very important, but we have to be able to be ready to listen to them without judgment.
Yes.
So yes. So now I'm telling you to come talk to me, right? But I'm already judging, and maybe not even so much with my words, but even my nonverbals, my body language, the way I'm looking at you is judging or mean or angry. How do we get a child to come talk to us with this kind of demeanor, or we're always downing them? It's so important for us to, if we saying come talk to me, but then we don't really want to hear what they have to say, is that's not right either. Or we say come talk to me, but then I can't talk to you about you. I can't tell you your yelling is stressing me out.
I'm guilty of that because I like again learned behavior. Like my daughter, and my daughter talk with just a regular tone, and she'll smile at me, Mom, why are you yelling? So I am guilty of that.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, you have to build them up. You have to really pour into them, build them up, let them know how proud you are. You can do this, you can do that. And not even that, just have just a normal conversation. But whatever they share with you, if it's wrong, you just have to address them and let them know, look, that's wrong. That is wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Again, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right, is how you, sometimes it is how you say it. It is how you say it. You have to, in order, if you want your children to come in and talk to you, you have to present yourself as welcoming.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And I didn't always learn that, know that either, because of how I was taught. But I would like to think that I have to change it around now. Do I get on them sometime? Of course, because they need it. But I always let them to know, listen, I need you to listen to what I'm saying. And I also give them a reason why I'm saying this. It's not that I don't think you're doing right, or I think your friends are this. I'm saying this because I've lived it, I experienced, or I know someone who probably has. So listen to this statement and tell me your thoughts about this. Here in America, a murder rate is 11 times what it is in other developed nations. The murder rate with guns is 10 times what it is in other developed nations. And there's nothing inevitable about it. It comes about because the decisions we make or fail to make, and it falls upon us to make a difference. What are some ways people as well as the church can help make this change?
For one, we need to always up having a firearm is not bad, because we want to be able to protect our loved ones in the household.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to let them know taking somebody's life is, and it's a difference when someone is out to harm you,
Mm-hmm.
and you're supposed to defend yourself. But just out here, just taking individual lives, for one, we need to hold the authority of our cities accountable. Laws need to change. It needs organizations as myself and other organizations needs to be funded to be able to have programs far as social skills, hands-on skills, technical skills, where these kids can be able to learn, and we can give them the equip the skills that they need to be able to thrive. They don't have no education or no skills to be able to go out here to apply for a job. Some children don't even know how to fill out an application. Better yet, dress for one. The technical skills that we had when we was young, they done took them out of the schools. So how can children learn anything?
Yeah, and then you have the impoverished areas, that don't have a lot in the community.
Yes.
Nothing for the children to do in the community. It says we have to impress upon them the values of a life. Yes, nobody values their life, not even their own. Guns have needs to be overhauled, and education is a must. Is a must to better themselves. And I agree. Nobody tells. First of all, not many of us as parents anymore, because either we're working, either we're trying to be the friend, either we the grandma trying to be the grandma out here hanging out with them. But nobody is letting these kids know how valuable they are, how valuable their life is, let alone someone else's life. We've gotten away from that. We have gotten. I feel like we have gotten away from that.
Yes, ma'am.
So in the communities where you don't have bowling, you don't have roller skating, you don't have different things for our children to do, what is it to do but to get in trouble? Jobs are null and void. The only thing you have in my area is fast food restaurants. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, because, hey, you can get paid depending on what your position is there. But what is it for our children to do? And like you said, your organization needs funding. How can we get a hold of your organization? How can we fund your organization? And how can we even become a part of it?
Well, for one, Stop the Violence, we is a 501c3. All we looking to do is we want to connect with other organizations. We never trying to take no one's, charities. They always say charity start at home. I'm from Portsmouth, and that's where my son was murdered at. So I'm taking care of Portsmouth first. But we are always looking to connect with other organizations in their cities to see how can we assist. Not saying that we have it all intact, but Stop the Violence, we do have a platform that we use, because again, whatever we say we're going to do, we always execute it. And we always makes ourselves available. We want to be the change. It's our job to educate the communities about the pleasure of gun violence that's affecting our communities.
That's right. It starts with educating the parents. It starts with educating the children. And again, we can't keep saying, well, come on in, bring them into church, because right now, no, the kids are not thinking about that. We have, like you said, have to get out of the four walls and get into that community and educate the parents and offer something. Like your organization, right? You just won Mother Advocate of the Year.
Mother Activist of the Year. Yes, ma'am.
Mother Activist of the Year.
Yes.
So in order to win Mother Activist of the Year, how involved did you have to be?
Well, actually, in 2020, I won Community Activist of the 757. I'm all over the place. I am working. I'm working. Again, we need other organizations. We need our churches to come outside of the four walls. We need help today, right now. I was just a young, promising future of this basketball player was murdered in Portsmouth on yesterday, right?
Wow.
Yes. I guess he left school to go ride with somebody to the store. I'm not sure, but on the way back to school, I assume he had practice or a basketball game. Somebody shot the car up and he died. But not even that. Just Friday, I went to visit one of my families out in the London Oaks area. And as soon as I got to work, not even an hour, I got a call saying a young lady was shot in the head, dead out there on the ground. Jesus. But what gets me, the community is too numb. Because why isn't everybody still talking about what happened to this young girl? I don't hear nobody talking about it. They not in an uproar. They needs to be in an uproar for me.
Right. Yes. So let me talk about that a minute, because I feel like, the word numb is correct, because I see it all the time. It's happening all the time. That's the news all the time. So now I am becoming numb to it. Oh, it's just another dead person, just another this, just another that. Oh, well, that's how it is. That's Portsmouth. That's Chesapeake. That's New York. That's not what we should be saying. That's not what we should be saying. Society has become desensitized.
Yes, ma'am.
And that word is perfect. Desensitized until it hits home. And when it hits home, then we want to get involved. Then we want to pull on the numbers. Or you know what? I don't even watch the news no more. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to see all of that happening. That's just as bad. That's just as bad. Yes. How do we bring this sensitivity back that's not okay? Why aren't we in an uproar? I got it. Some of the police departments, they're overworked and all that. I got it. But what else can we do in the community? I think you was talking about mentors, right? What else can we do?
Well, the Up Center need mentors. They short-staffed mentors. Yes, ma'am. They need mentors. But not even that. Show up at your city council meetings on every other Tuesday to voice your concerns. You have social media. Everybody want to talk about who died. It's not enough police. The mayor ain't do this. The mayor ain't do that. Go and voice your opinion. We all have a voice. If you have an issue, go address it and let them know what needs to be addressed.
How much does fear play a part in that?
Far as addressing what you or
some people's like, I don't want to get involved. I just want to mind my business.
But again, not until it hit home. You don't want to get involved. But then once it hit home, oh, now I want to get involved. That's not right. Because guess what? My child should be your child, vice versa. Your child should be my child. We should look out for one another.
Mm-hmm. Look at this comment. It says it has been glamorized and glorified in our music,
yes,
movies,
yes,
that our own people make.
Exactly.
And that's true. If you look at these videos, right? I personally don't think it's okay that my 10, 11, 12, 13 be watching these videos and listening to this music.
But not
That's
even
just,
that.
I just don't believe that.
Even the way they dress.
Even the
10
way
year,
they dress.
10-year-olds not looking like 10-year-olds anymore. The mom have the long tracks in the hair. They think the crop top shirts, that's what it is. No, it's not.
No, it's not. So Monica, you said so to leave our viewers with some, and the Up Center we're talking about, this is here in Virginia, but every city has, or every state has, different organizations that you can be a part of. And I just want to say you're watching Real Talk with Ellasin, and we are here with Monica Atkins, the executive director of Stop the Violence 757, and we are talking about Stop the Violence and how can we get involved and help be the change. Carisha said it's subliminal in music, movies, primetime TV. It's subliminal. Everybody wants the cars, the women, the men, the basketball player, the football star, the rap. Everybody, this is what I want. Nobody wants to be the owner of a Fortune 500 company.
Right. I asked my granddaughter, she'd be 8 next week. I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? She said, I want to be an artist. She loves to draw. And I'm like, wow, you don't hear that anymore.
You do not hear that anymore.
Like you said, a basketball player. I want to be a rapper.
Yeah. Yeah. So that we have the Up Center, right? And we can also volunteer with you. And how would we sign up to volunteer with you?
Stop the Violence. We have a social media page on Facebook, Stop the Violence 757, which you can email us directly up there, or Instagram, Stop the Violence 757. We also have a website where you can email us at stoptheviolence757.org and .com.
Okay. So it's www.stoptheviolence757.org or .com. You have both of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is good. That is really good. Okay, so that's ways that we can sign up to help out, to be a part, or even to give, right? And you said what else? You said mentors, men come out, parents be parents, I believe is the first line of defense.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the first, it's not cute. It's and I just gotta go here. I can't stand these daggone TikTok videos of these 3-year-olds dropping it like it's hot and twerking. Yes, I can't stand it.
Yes.
I can't stand it. And it's one video where the man had his son where it was a Nerf gun, but still he was sitting up there with the Nerf guns like this.
Like
he was 3.
But not even that. I just did an event with this organization called Cuts, and he have young men that he have up under him, and they work, and he pays them hourly wages, and they go out in the community and cleans up, right?
Yes.
And one thing I spoke about is my grandson, and people don't know this too. This affect the child too, because when the kids take pictures, you know what they do? This gang signs. But when he's with me, you know what I tell him? When you with grandma, you don't do that. My grandson put up peace signs. Now I can live with him putting up peace, but you're not going to come in my household putting up this, because this obviously is a gang sign.
Yeah.
So parents got to be very attentive to the children.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother thing too. We got to be a part. Like, what are you throwing up? What is that? Well, I don't know. So then why are you doing it?
And then
I think parenting. So, Monica, if you had to leave us with nuggets, right, what would you say to people about getting involved?
Again, it don't even have to be Stop the Violence 757. Any organizations that you know is out there, that's out there in the community doing something positive, get engaged with them. See how you can be a part. Volunteer and it's everything. Or not even that. If you see a child that you know that's going down the wrong path, and you know you can just make a small impact with that child just by having that dialogue with him, do it, because they may be receptive to you, but not receptive to the parent. Let's just
Mm-hmm.
do our part as individuals. We have to save our children.
Save our children. Save our children. That goes right back to it takes a village. It takes a village. And I know sometimes these kids in my neighborhood probably think that woman over there gets on my last nerve. But if I see them doing something, I have something to say. If I know they parent, I have something to say because it's not okay. It's not okay. And you see them most of the time. You see them and you know them from little, and then they grow up and you see the change. But somebody's got to be in there to say, hey, I see you. What's going on? Hey, I see you. What's going on?
Yeah.
Right? Yes, the children, they need us. And it's not, ministry starts in home. And yes, it's our children, but some of us are children out of the house, but it's still with us. Right? And Jaquita says some parents do not allow the kids to watch, listen, but they're exposed away from home. And they are. They
Yes.
are exposed, but that's when we still, as parents, and Monica, would you agree? We still need to be involved because if you hear them humming this, hey, where are you getting that from? Where are
Exactly.
you hearing that at? Is it the school bus? Are you in Pookie car? So and so. Where are you hearing this from? So now I can identify where you not going.
And not even that, as parents too, just don't be so defensive. If our children be home and be like, well, such and such told me I can't do this, just ask first. Don't always be defensive, and thinking somebody always want to attack your child. We just want to see them do well. That's even in the churches these days. You have the individuals in the church scared to say something to the kids because somebody in the congregation gonna go off. We need to
Wow, that's
get
true.
that back in the church. Not even that in
Right.
the kids, with the parents.
Yeah.
I'm only saying something because I care.
Right. Right. And again, it's a way. It's a
Yes,
way to say it. You don't have to be yelling and hollering at the child. It's a way to say it. It's a way to say it. And I agree. Us as a parent, because if our children see us, excuse me, if our children see us, and every time somebody says something, we at a defense, or we on 100, then it's like, oh, okay, all
yes,
right. So now I know what I can do, and mom got my back. Dad got my back. So now little boo boo can't do no wrong, and that's not the case. Little boo boo out here doing whatever he want to do, and you can't see it,
right.
right? So leave a nugget for that parent, that grandparent, of somebody who unfortunately have lost a loved one to gun violence or violence. Leave a nugget for them, because number one, I think it's important for us to, we'll never forget what happens to the children. We'll never forget what happened to our loved one that died of some kind of violent act. But what is it that you can say to them? Because you do have those, unfortunately, that get stuck right here and can't move on. So what would you say?
Talk about it. Talking about what happened to your child is what gonna get you through. Not just talk about it. Keep their memory alive. Focus on the great things. Talk about it. Communication. You have to talk about it, because if not, internally, you're going to eat yourself up. You're going to die internally. You're going to cause sickness in your body. Talk about it. Talk about it.
That's good. Talk about it, because so many times, like you said, we don't want to talk about it, and then it causes stress on the body some kind of way.
Yes.
And then we're going to the doctor and they can't find anything wrong, but we're stressed, right? So
Yes.
they're talking about it help you, and you actually did more than talk about it. Look at Stop the Violence 757.
Every chance I get, I always talk about my son. So I have a young lady that's a secretary on my board, because I don't always want to be the person that the news reporters, we're going to call Monica Atkins. I want somebody else to get their story out there, especially if you don't have closure, because we do the billboards. And a reason for us posting the billboards is to keep our loved ones' memory alive, but not even that, to bring back the remembrance to somebody. Maybe somebody wanted to speak. Oh, I know something about that murder case right there. They may want to dial the number and give some information. We all want closure.
Yes, we all want closer, and that speaks volumes for you, because you said yours was unsolved.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
and I do see the billboards and stuff like that, and that's another thing that we could do in the community, because that takes money.
Yes.
That takes money.
We
So again,
also,
you said,
I'm sorry.
go
You can
ahead.
also give to Stop the Violence on Giveify. Giveify. It's Stop the Violence 757 Inc.
Stop the Violence 757 Inc.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You got that? So it's, if you want to give to Stop the Violence 757, you can also go. They have the website of www.stoptheviolence757.org or .com, and the other one is you can go to Stop the Violence 757, and that's Givelify. And I believe it's, what is it, Givilfy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yep. Stop the Violence 757. That's how you can also give. Don't wait till it's personal, guys. Just try your best to get involved. Even if it's giving of your funds, giving of your time, just try your best to get involved. Monica, you also have a bike.
Yes.
Every year, right?
I have this brochure that I wanted to share because I didn't say about what we do in the communities.
Yes, go ahead. Please share.
This March the 17th is our 6th annual dinner where we cater to parents that have lost kids to gun violence. In June, which is National Awareness Day for Gun Violence, we have a bike ride. We do a kickball tournament, and we award an individual with a scholarship. All we ask is for them to write a one-page essay on how gun violence affected their lives. In September, we do a school drive for back to school. And in October, we do our yearly community trunk or treat. And we also partner with other organizations throughout the year to assist as much as we can. And we always, Stop the Violence is responsible for cleaning up the street where my son is murdered at. So we're responsible to clean it up 3 times a year. But we go out there and we asking for volunteers. Even if you want to drop your child off, we have something for you to sign, for you to be able to give us permission for you to leave your child with us, but just come back to get them at the appointed time. But we want to be able to let them know it's great to work in the community. You have to give back. You have to give back. Yes. And then working in the community, that's part of giving back.
Yes. So I see Adopt a Highway. So you got a street where your son was unfortunately murdered at.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And March is the dinner.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. March and they can still sign up for the dinner?
Yes. You can go again on our Stop the Violence on social media, for us Facebook and Instagram. We have a link up there where we're looking for vendors, we're looking for sponsorships, and you can purchase your ticket right through that way, that link, which is March the 17th at the Women's Center in the city of Portsmouth.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing all that you do, Monica. I appreciate you here for joining me on Real Talk. Listen, guys, I'm going to be sharing out the information that Monica also just said. And Monica, please make sure every time you have something come up to let me know, so I can also share it out on all my platforms, as well as our church, Living Water Ministries. So, this way we can be more involved, because what I don't want is us to do this show and then we don't communicate anymore. That's not what I want. I want to be able to help out. I want to be able to be involved. We want to be able to help out as much as we can. So please make sure you share. I'm definitely going to share about the event coming up in March. And also, is there, for instance, if you can't go, are you taking donations to maybe pay a seat for someone else who can go?
We already had people been sponsoring tickets, so we can donate it to somebody else that would like to come. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Monica Atkins, Executive Director of Stop the Violence 757. Ma'am, I appreciate you, and thank you for keeping it real right here on Real Talk with Ellasin. And I appreciate you, and I will definitely be Actually, I'm gonna call you right after we get off here, just if I'm keeping it real.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
anyway, upcoming on the 27th, we are going to be talking about organizations that do give back to the community, whether it's food and clothing, just so that we can know, listen, the community needs help. The community is dealing with violence. The community is dealing with lack of finances, lack of need. They're just needing. Our community is in need. And if we need to give back. We need to give back. So upcoming next Thursday at 7 o'clock, we will be discussing organizations on how to give back. One of the organizations actually gives out fresh food, which is really, really good. So listen, if you're tuning in to Real Talk, please don't forget to subscribe if you're on YouTube, like us if you're on Facebook. Listen, spread the word, share this out. Stop the violence. Thank you for joining in Real Talk with Ellasin, and I am Ellasin. Y'all have a blessed evening. Good night, Monica.
Good night.